Video bites from ulearn.photography. Here's our principal, Simon Q. Walden.
Hello, 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 hello. Welcome to another video bite, where today I'm going to be talking about just some of the things that are involved in opening your own studio. Some of them will be obvious, and some of them will be a bit less obvious. And I just hope that, you know, out of all this list, if you're considering opening a studio, that there'll be something in there you think, oh, I hadn't thought about that. So here's a random list from 1 to 9. First of all, you're going to open a studio, you need a building. Now, I can talk a lot about what kind of building you're going to need and want, and the different pros and cons of that, and we'll cover that in another video bite. Number 2, you need to consider not just the rental or lease or purchase cost of the building, but also your local rates for the building. And just as a rule of thumb, in the UK, your council rates will be about 50% of your rent. Or to put it another way, if you've got a rental figure, add half as much again. That's actually what it's going to cost you per year. You need to consider what you're going to spend to fit it out and quite how it's going to be fitted out. And I can guarantee you, whatever your first fit out is, a little while down the line, you're going to actually need to rejig it because it doesn't quite do the things that you want it to do. You need lots of sample work, and this is a thing I think again gets forgotten quite frequently, is you need really good samples, whether it's wall products of the kind of framed pictures that you want to look, or whether it's wedding albums. Not only do you need good work to go into them, but you need to be prepared to deal with the expense of having them produced. And particularly for wall art, you actually need to think about how and where in the studio you're going to present that. Obviously, you've got a whole bunch of equipment, and it's going to be, you know, beyond the obvious stuff. It's not going to be, oh, I need some studio strobes. It's going to be all the nitty-gritty, so like I need some long extension power cables. I need to be able to run VGA from here to there. I'll need a local Wi-Fi down in the studio. I'll need a little CCTV camera. I'll need a doorbell, just stuff. Obviously, you've got insurance. You may need to look at several different policies, an insurance policy for the building itself and a separate insurance policy for your photographic equipment. Just remember, you need to light it. Again, often you forget that you also need to provide water, and you'll have water rates, and you need to heat it. Now, but again, particularly in the UK, if you've got a larger space, and you do want the largest space you can manage, don't forget heating that can be seriously expensive. And conversely, in summer, or you're, you know, kind of in southern states of America, you will need to cool it. And again, cooling it will cost you just as much as heating it. You know, it's a big, big factor of your overall expense. Just to put it into a context, in the studio, our studio rent was about $25,000 a year. Our rates were about $12,000 a year. Our heating alone was about $6,000 a year. You need to consider legal, particularly in the process of signing up. And particularly if you're getting a building lease rather than just a sort of short-term rental contracts, or indeed if you're into a building purchase. I think there's a lot to be said that you should treat a building lease almost as seriously as you should treat a purchase. And last, you need to consider maintenance. You know, what, both on a larger level, what am I going to do when I need to repaint this, that and the other, but also on a stupid level, like, how will I change the light bulbs? How will I, you know, what do I need to do to ensure a cleaning service for this, that and the other? And again, I'll give you an example. In my studio, the fluorescent strip lights are about 20 feet off the ground. That's too high to reach on any ladder, because it needs one of those kinds of ladders, because they're not up against the walls. And even standing on the top of my shorter ladders, I'm not very happy. So what happens is when they go, they go. And when I've got enough of them that have failed, then I'll get somebody in to swap all the lights around who happens to have a big ladder. But there's all sorts of funny maintenance things like that, window cleaning, gutter clearance, just stuff, gardening, make sure the exterior of the building is fine. So, there's just a whole bunch of things to consider. I'm sure there's at least another 10. And if you'd like to leave comments about that, you'd be more than welcome to do so.
Subscribe now for regular tips and updates. To find out more, go to ulearn.photography.